And that's where it came to working with these wonderful animals that you have on the screen. That's how I met my wife.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to get. If we can talk a little bit about the tiger part and how you met your life. I mean, excuse me, wife, and how things ended up working out really well for you. And the tigers, the working with the tigers is just like kind of its own amazing thing on its own, and a
Well, that
privilege. It's actually like a privilege.
right.
It's not a thing that like these are kind of like the gods of the animal world. This is not like you know like I view it as kind of a privilege.
Well, I worked with mountain lions in relocating them in Wisconsin with my dad. And that's you
Excuse me,
trap
I'll
them
put
or
that
you
back up.
tranquilize them. And um, uh, like mountain lions in North America, a mountain lion is a much smaller animal than a tiger is. And they they don't live naturally in Wisconsin. They actually live in the southern area, south in southern Illinois, extending down to Missouri. There's a population that lives there. That's a breeding population. That's an established population. They are there. And then there's another population of mountain lions that live in like Canada. And so um, when the police or regular people in Wisconsin would sight a mountain lion, my dad and I used to go and track it down, and if we could, tranquilize it, and then take it up into the northern parts of Wisconsin, away from people, and release it because they were all migrating males or females that were looking to go to that population that was in Canada to our north. And so we would get them past the populated areas where they would come across people. And I went to go and do a very similar thing, and I won't be very specific about it. But um, uh, that is doing that sort of exact thing with these animals was sort of how like my wife found me. And we did that together there in Thailand. And that's how I got to know her. That's how our relationship started with each other. And I went back to Thailand um, uh, 3 times. Um, and my relationship with her further and deepened each time. And now I am married to her, and she is living here in the United States with me, and going through and getting her citizenship, her becoming a naturalized citizen in the United States. She has her application outstanding with USCIS, and is going through the process. But she has helped to change my life. And she comes with me, believe it or not, Joe. She supports me absolutely in the AA program. She comes with me to these meetings. Um she I was very upfront and told her about my substance abuse history in our first conversation with each other. And she has never seen me use a drug or take a drink in my life that
Nice.
she's seen, right? And I'm going to keep that streak going because I am fully me when I'm sober, and I am a somewhat diminished and angry version of myself when I'm habitually using. I just won't go back to being that person. I'm a much more I I I'm much happier this way. And I don't say that to try and like convince myself of something. No, this is something that my experiences have convinced me of. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. No,
So
no, I think it's awesome. So, how did you end up in Thailand, able to work with them?
that was through my wife. My wife found me and requested that I go there,
Oh,
and
so but I'm saying, were you like on Facebook talking about doing things
she
with
found me on the
cats or
internet
something
and
like that?
contacted me through a WhatsApp program. And
Cool.
that's how we became aware of each other. And She wanted me to come and do a specific thing, and that specific thing grew into other services that I delivered for them. Um, and I'm being I'm
Yeah, you
being
don't say any
purposely
details you don't
uh
want to say. That's
yeah
fine.
I'm being
It's cool.
purposely ambiguous here because the tigers themselves this is not a public operation that she's engaged in. The tigers themselves, there's only 6,000 of them that are left in the wild. Their primary threat is China and the Chinese people, because they believe in hunting these animals and using their meat and their bones in their traditional
Yeah,
medicine.
for medicine. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
One country and one people don't have the right to denude the world of this amazing animal.
yeah. They really are amazing. And I can see why the Chinese probably think they do have a lot of power and stuff, because they probably do, but it's not right to kill these. It's they're such a majestic being. I think they're pretty much the most amazing animal that we have here, and it's really a shame if they became extinct from us. Killing them so some Chinese guy can try to get his dick hard.
Well,
And with some tiger
they're
blood or
right on the
something.
verge. They are an endangered species. And like I said, 6,000 of them. And Thailand is one of the very, very few places where you can go and see these animals in the flesh.
Yeah, it's got to be very frightening seeing one in the wild.
Yeah,
I would
they are
imagine.
amazing.
Yeah,
They're like when you go to see a tiger at a zoo. Um, uh, those are not animals who have had to kill to live. Those are animals who have had meat slid on a tray underneath their door.
yeah,
And they are more akin to being like domesticated house animals.
yeah,
Because they've never had to grow up and sharpen any of their skills and proficiently hunt other wild animals. Do you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
These tigers in Thailand are hunters. They are
Savages.
predators.
Yeah,
And so the look that you see in their eyes is unlike anything that you'll ever see in a zoo. I mean, these are
I would
and
imagine if you see one, your DNA makes yourself like just start shitting your pants, because like if this thing wants to, well, first off, you would never even see it coming. If this thing wants to kill you, it can so easily. You'd never even realize it, probably.
unless you're in a tree.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of hint
and
there.
then if you're up in a tree, it'll just say, "Okay, I'll just wait for you to like eventually come down."
Right. Right.
Or
And they
it'll
will.
come up. Yeah, and they
Yeah.
will. They'll just sit there and wait for days on end, and it will be fine.
And tigers are they're different from lions. Lions are a pride-based animal. Everything in a lion's life comes through the pride. That's their paradigm, right? Tigers are loners. There is no pride with tigers. They all the ones that exist out in the wild do so of their own accord. They eat based on their skills and ability to hunt wild animals. So if you're encountering a tiger in the wild, you're encountering a successful predator,
Yeah,
a predator
by default.
who's managed to kill from a very young age, from the first year of life, all the way until the time that you're encountering them. They have made successive kills in order to put bulk on their bodies.
Yeah,
They don't get a free meal. There's no such thing as a free meal out in the jungle. Um, and The existence for these animals is fraught with danger. They get injured. They break their bones. They get sick just like we do. If you kill one, that could be the only mating male or mating female in 40 or
like
50
100
miles.
miles or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, that's why I have a real heart out for these animals, and I'm willing to put my life in danger, in jeopardy, in order to do what I do. But they are it this is just something that has a special meaning and purpose in my life, and I take it very seriously. But yeah, um uh I'm one of
Have
the
you been
very few.
able to do any more of this work, or you kind
I'm
of done
waiting
with it,
until
or
Ratana, and the preserve. I want
if
to
there's
say
been
this. The preserve in Thailand, these animals are not kept in cages. They are allowed to go out and hunt. They are treated in these cages, and the ones that you see pictured are being treated for injuries. Um, the Thais keep them wild. So these animals go back out. Um, and this is like this is something that just a very interesting story. In Thailand, the national animal is the elephant. Okay, and if you know anything about elephants, you can't tell them a damn thing, especially the wild ones. The Thais have a very Buddhist way of living and a Buddhist perspective about it, where they um, they see these animals as creations of God. And so when like
yeah, tiger especially represents the most high creation to me
yes,
personally.
it's part of the world that God created, right? And the Thais, like when these wild elephants, when they walk through like a Thai city, what the Thai police will do is to tell people to go into their homes, and they will block off the streets and let the elephants come through.
Do
They
what they
don't like
want.
try and herd them or push them in any direction. Nope. It's we're gonna let these animals walk through, and what they damage. What they mess up, they
Yeah,
mess up. But this is just part of the cost of living in proximity with these amazing creatures.
yeah,
And like there's a real like I really took note of that, because that was such a departure from how we deal with wildlife here in America. And I wish that we could bring that. I wish. Sorry, my dog was
it's fine.
freaking out in the background. I wish that we could bring that tradition here to the West, where we learn to better coexist with these wild animals.
Well, Karen won't have it. They want to talk about it, but they won't actually do it. If they see an animal in their backyard, they want it killed.
Yeah.
They love that. They're scared. A lot of them are just scared of the natural world. In fact, I just did a tree job recently for somebody that needed some trees down. She's like, "Well, I see too many wild turkeys back there, and I think they're gonna attack my kids, so we're putting up a fence." I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, it just is like, but that's their mentality. It's very fear based. And they kind of really don't give a shit about animals. They try to say that they do, but they kind of don't. They're like,
Yeah,
well,
it's more of
care
like
about
a
it, but not in my backyard. Put it in someone else's backyard.
right. They call that the NIMBY, right? Not in my backyard.
Yeah,
Meaning that I want to tell you to have it in your backyard, but I don't want
yeah,
it in mine.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
That's very much an East Coast elitist type thing.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I think that when it comes to the tigers and the elephants, and even like the wild deer that I have in on my property, Ratana and we feed them every night, and I like. Spend my money on corn and nuts and stuff like that for
yeah,
them. Uh, I I don't do that so that I can like turn around and shoot them. I actually don't hunt deer at all. I don't trophy hunt. I don't do any of that. Um, I just enjoy being with them, seeing them. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to
yeah,
touch them. I don't want to, like I put food in my backyard, and there's a herd of deer that come through and they will eat it. And that is how we coexist together. And that's how far I take things. But
Yeah.
I don't ever try and get close to them or anything else like that. Like
Yeah,
I
just
think
let
that
them
that's
be.
like coexistence, you know,
Yeah.
because there's mutual benefit there.
Yeah, and a little bit of feeding the animals goes a long way. My parents live actually in a suburban neighborhood, and it's like a freaking zoo there. They get so many deer, herons, snapping turtles and shit like that you wouldn't even imagine that because they're putting out uh food every night and stuff like that. And like, the animals are just trying to live too. Like, we are kind of fucking up their environment.
Right.
Like, we have to counterbalance it a little bit. And like I particularly have a lot of experience with loons as I live on a lake and there's a bunch of loons around and they're actually really like some of them will actually like come right up to you. I don't feed them or anything because they're fine, but like we really need to appreciate the wildlife more. But the only way you can appreciate, you have to go like see it and experience it. And a lot of people are more living in a metaverse digital world where they don't have an appreciation for it. Like seeing these animals makes you believe in God more because you're like something created this amazing thing and it's so complex and everything. And like even if
Well,
evolution is real, it's like, well, look at how it had to evolve and have these patterns on itself, and it knows how to live, it knows what to do, how to migrate, and all this. Like at a certain point, you're like, well, there's got to be some type of amazing creator that has made this, and like,
yeah. Well,
whether you think it's God or not or whatever you
and
want
you
to
don't
call
have
it.
to you also don't have to pit the idea of evolution, right, and adaptation. That doesn't not have to be the enemy of faith. You
Yeah,
can
yeah, no, yeah, I
you
agree. They
can
can
they
coexist.
can
Yeah,
be complementary and explain each other, right?
yeah,
Evolution can explain the process that God used to create these creatures. You don't have
yeah,
to always pit religion against science.
yeah.
In my view,
I agree.
the physical sciences explain how the kind of how God created this perfect world.
Yeah,
Not perfect world as in that everything turns out right for everybody. What I'm saying is that when it was created, and I don't think that it was created in 6 days. When it was created, what I mean is that that the biomes and the wildlife that have grown as a result of the resources and the flow of energy through the food chain, that is sort of a perfect system.
it's just amazing. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And like even it even gets more amazing because there's a whole like level we can't see of like bacteria,
Yeah.
organisms,
Organisms.
fungi,
Yeah.
like all this stuff is like a whole world of it that we don't even see, like like germs and diseases and everything like that, affects all this stuff, and that's like a whole other layer that we can't even see. So it's like it's amazingly complex. And yeah, I definitely think they do coexist. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, but the only way you can figure that out is you can't read about it. I mean, I guess you can kind of read about it, but you just got to go out
And
in nature and
experience it.
just shut up and just sit there and just look at it and experience it. And you're like, it kind of like, I don't know if you like, it just will like kind of all come to you. Then it's just like, well, I don't know, like I can't think of any other way how it kind of like, I don't know, that's the conclusion that I came to. I think I that's why I like sort of that Native American view of like, oh, there's a creator. You don't need to read about it. You don't need to read or anything or have like, some Book of Mormon or Bible or anything. You can just say like, oh, well, there's a creator that has made nature, and like you can just leave it at that. And there you go. You're not an atheist now. Like otherwise if you're an atheist, it's like, well, that's great, but I think you're also just thinking that there's like evolution, but something had to make evolution happen too. Like there has to be some creative force, even if it's a simulation or whatever you want to think. Like there has to be some creative force.
Yeah.
Period.
I
It-
think when I was going to college, they spoke about it in terms of intelligent design.
Yeah.
But I think that they got off track in like trying to say that again, trying to pit Darwinism against the idea
Yeah.
that intelligent design. I think that those two ideas need to be more seamlessly integrated with each other. Because
Yeah. Well,
that's how I
Darwin
look at
even
it.
said that he believes in God. He's like,
Yeah.
there has to be that. So like, but they it's more easy to manipulate people who are more atheistic and stuff, or they have less values that they stand for, or less morals and stuff.
Well,
In my opinion,
people who don't recognize that there is a higher power outside of their life, those people generally suffer from greater amounts of malignant
yeah,
narcissism, and hedonism. And they're it's interesting because it's sort of like I go back to me drinking when I came home, and that was like my temporary relief, but that kept me, it was like the monkey's paw, right? That kept me suspended in a state where then I needed a drink every day because the drinking really kind of shut down my ability to acknowledge and grieve the traumatic experiences that I went through. Similar with those people, it's their hedonism and narcissism that pushes them away from happiness.
yeah,
So it's like that self-fulfilling circle. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And so like that's how when I meet like these militant atheists who reject all God, it's like you do realize that like, there's only like 6% of humanity that agrees with you. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah,
And that leads me to that leads me to believe that like what you're demonstrating is more like the result of like a mental illness
yeah,
than it is like a conscious a principled and noble pursuit that you're engaging in. You're really just looking down on other people who openly express their religious beliefs, because
yeah, exactly.
for all of humanity's history we have had a deity, whether
Yeah,
that's in the East with my wife's culture, and Buddhism, or Judaism or Christianity, or you go and you look at some of the religions like Zoroastrianism or Baha'ism, Hinduism. Like there have always been in every culture, it has generated some kind of deity. And I don't take a cynical Karl Marx, that's the opiate
yeah.
of the masses. No, that's been like our
It's the
religious
default mode.
traditions,
Yeah,
our religious traditions actually somewhat teach us our identity. And you look at like the Western paradigm, like with England and America, it was Christians who started the abolition movement that ended up ending slavery as we knew it back then. That came out of Christianity. So sometimes our best traditions, the advances that we've made, come as a result of how those how our faith has inspired us. So I don't take a cynical view of that at all. I think that you're an idiot, and you don't know your history
yeah,
if you
yeah,
just straight up.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So I think is there anything else you want to cover, or a last
No, my
message or
friend,
something? Yeah,
we covered like everything else. If you could, if you want to, for your listeners, go ahead and post that letter that I wrote to my Congressman Glenn Grothman, if they want to see some of the specifics that I was talking about when it came to addressing the issue of veteran substance abuse and suicide.
yeah.
That's
I'll put
again,
it in the Discord, but I'll link it in the description somehow if I can, and then I'm gonna cut this into smaller clips, which I think are gonna be more digestible to the average person, because this is going to be too long for them to listen to.
yeah,
So like via some shorts, or even just smaller, like 15-minute segments or something. So like you also have something that you could send to somebody or something like that too. Like
yep,
it's more usable that way. So like this was more so we could create content from this.
right. Right.
So I'll work on that, and I will put links to all your stuff in the description, and I'll make note of that too, so they can read that article and other stuff like that. I can put your links to X, and if you're doing any other media like that, I can include that in there as well. So, and then I think maybe not right away, but I'll once I have all this stuff, I'll like promote some of the clips so they get pushed out into the algorithm more.
Absolutely.
So, but I'm gonna like cut it up and like fine tune it, and dress it up nice and make good descriptions and stuff on it. So
You know what you're doing, Joe.
yeah, I'm getting better at it. So I'll just keep doing that, and then we can even do this another time. So have a good night to your wife and stuff. I said hi, and you take care.
Thanks for having me on, Joe. I much appreciate it.
Yeah,
You have a
my
great night.
pleasure. Yeah, good night, everybody.
Bye.